It's Jaunti, boy.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jaunti. Welcome back to the channel. I'm finally back with a new video. I know it's been a while. I think it's been about like over a week, probably like 8 days. And I'm sorry about that. I just had a lot going on. But if you're new to the channel and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Also hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of new videos when I upload them. And also get this video a thumbs up, smash that like button for your boy. I really appreciate it. For this video, a lot of people have been hitting me up asking about mixing and mastering, and this is gonna be like, you know, your typical beginner's video where I'm gonna be showing you guys how to mix vocals and your beats. So for this one, we're gonna be talking about EQs, short for equalizers. For those who don't know what an equalizer is, pretty much an EQ is a tool for music production or audio production. So in that way, you can boost or cut a certain frequency range for any type of audio signal, like instruments, vocals, sound effects, anything in that nature, where you give its own space and dimension. And there are several types of EQs. There are parametric EQs, semi-parametric EQs, shelving EQs, and graphic EQs. And I'm gonna show you 4 different EQs on how to actually use them, what are they made for, and you know, certain engineers use different EQs or compressors or any other plugin for different types of music. For artists who are looking for engineers who specialize in that category, they use advanced mixing and mastering techniques. So they don't use the same tools for every single song. We're gonna get into Pro Tools, and I'm gonna show you exactly what EQs are, how they're different from one another, and how are they used. So let's get into it. All right, guys. Now the first one we're gonna be talking about is called a parametric EQ, and that's basically a certain tool where you could just boost and cut certain frequency ranges, and it'll keep it that way. I have a track here by one of my boys, Edward Wynn. This is an old record we did like over a year and a half ago called Third Eye. Yeah, so we're going to be using his track as an example to boost and cut certain frequency ranges with these certain EQs. So let's try it out. Now this right here, like I said before, this is a parametric EQ. It has FL, which is short for low frequency, low mid frequency, high mid frequency, and high frequency. This is a high pass filter, low pass filter. And basically what those do is they focus on certain frequency ranges of an audio signal. Now for the Qs, that's short for width. You can widen or shorten the frequency bands of any frequency range. Now for these two, this is an icon for bell. The reason why it's called bell, because once you drop it down, once you start to cut, it looks like a bell. And this right here, this is called a shelf. Now that's where shelf EQing comes in. You EQing the low frequencies and the high frequencies. Turn it up, it's a shelf. It's a high shelf, low shelf. Same for the high frequencies. High shelf, low shelf. And as for bells, same thing over here. It's bells. Now, if I play back a certain track,
it's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I'm 9 to 5 and 5 9.
And you can take the high pass frequencies and you want to cut out a little bit of the low frequencies. And one thing that us engineers did not get at first, the high pass filter is on the left side. So on the left side is the low frequencies, and on the right side is called the low pass filter, which contains the high frequencies.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I'm 9 to 5 and 5 9 the cake. You ain't saving.
And that's how you take out some of the low pass frequency. You want to take out all that unwanted frequencies, all that unwanted noise in your vocals. And also you can solo it too. You could just turn off the beat and you could just solo it.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I'm 9 to 5 and 5 9 the cake. You ain't saving if you're spending, nigga.
And that sounds just about right. But here's another thing too. If you're EQing vocals or any type of instrument, never mix in solo. I learned that from the hard way years ago. But what you want to do is you want to play the beat along as you're mixing the vocals, because you want to make sure that it stands out a little bit more and also blend in with the beat. So you want to be very careful with that.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5 9 to K.
And let's say, for instance, you want to. It's just something called sweeping. This is what sweeping is. We just turn up the gain on it, shorten it a little bit with the bandwidth, shorten it a little bit with the Q. And what you want to do is you want to listen very carefully. Take the frequency, move it left to right until you hear the bad frequencies in that range.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5 9 to K. You ain't.
And I hear a little bit more bass in that frequency range. So what you want to do is you want to cut it down just a little bit.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5 9.
You take too much out,
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle.
it'll sound very flat.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5 9 to K. You ain't saving if you spending, nigga.
So you just take those frequency ranges, you take those bands, and you tweak and hear what needs to be taken out or what needs to be added in. You can do the opposite of that as well. So for parametric EQs, that's exactly what it does. It just takes out and it boosts and it keeps it that way for the remaining of the song. And these are part of the Jack Joseph Puig collection plugins. These right here, semi-parametric EQ. Semi short for half. It does part of what a parametric EQ does. And what I use for these is that I don't use them on vocals. I use these for kick drums because they're highly known for giving your drums a more of a punchier sound. Now, I don't have any examples on how I could use this to demonstrate on kicks, but because the beat itself, I don't have any individual access to the stems. It's just more of a 2-track instrumental. Now, for these right here, I use for just kicks. Sometimes snares and claps, but as an EQ right here, it tells you straight up exactly what each knob does. ATTN is short for attenuation, which is another word for gain reduction. You want to make sure that you keep the dynamics in your instrumentation, but also make sure it's not clipping. Make sure it's not distorted. So you want to have enough amount of gain reduction from your instrumentation. This is most likely a graphic EQ, but it also sends you a picture on what you're seeing. What you're hearing is what you're seeing. So this one right here, if I want to just take out some of the frequencies.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5 9 to K. You ain't saving if you spending, nigga. How much you say? Go invest.
So since I started at 77 kilohertz, you want to start after that. I would say start at 160.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5 9 to K. You ain't saving if you spending, nigga. How much you say?
Or if you want to start boosting some of the high frequencies and get a little bit more air in it, you start from here.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5 9 to K. You ain't saving if you spending, nigga. How much you say? Go invest and make it double, nigga. Run up the bank. Soon as you done got some paper, burned it like some easy waters. It ain't tricking if you got it. Who done came with that line? If you only want material, I feel like why try? I feel like I done gave a lot if I give my time. You fall down and get back up, man. You supposed to, despite what you go through. See me through laptops in your mobile, that's learning virtual.
And also, as a beginner, if you're not so sure on what you're doing with an EQ, start off by using presets. I wouldn't necessarily depend on presets and keep it the way it is because you might want to boost certain frequencies or cut out certain frequencies to reach a certain sound. Start off by using presets. For instance, let's use it with this graph EQ.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5 9 to K. You ain't saving if you spending, nigga. How much you say? Go invest and make it double, nigga. Run up the bank. Soon as you done got some paper, burned it like some easy waters. It ain't tricking if you got it. Who done came with that line? If you only want material, I feel like why try? I feel like.
Yeah, so basically what I just did there, I just boost the high frequencies to make it sound a little bit more airy and give it a little bit more presence. But I wouldn't leave it that way. I'm just doing it just to demonstrate on how to use a graphic EQ. I mean, that's what they used to use back in the day, So, alright guys, last but not least, this is the dynamic EQ. I'm using the FabFilter Pro Q3. This is one of the most popular and most expensive EQs out there in the market. The difference between a parametric EQ and a dynamic EQ is that dynamic EQs have the ability to compress certain frequency ranges. So in that way, you can sidechain certain elements into others. Like for instance, if you have a kick and a bass or a kick and an A drum and they clash them with one another in the same frequency range, let's say for instance they're in the same frequency range, 40,000 kilohertz all the way down to, let's say, 74 kilohertz. They're clashing with one another, so there's no space between them. What you want to do is you take the kick. Let's say, for instance, this is the 808, this is the bass, and this is the kick. You hear that? They're clashing with one another, so it's going to create distortion in that frequency range. So if you want to sidechain a kick in an 808, you're basically telling the 808 to duck every time the kick comes in. So this is the kick, this is the 808. You're going to be hearing the 808 in the bass, but also the kick as well. And when that way, everything has its own space and dimension, and it won't be clashing with one another. That's what dynamic EQs are mainly used for, and it's amazing. So you can also use it for boosting. You can use it for your everyday EQing as well.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5-9 the cake.
And also, Fab Filter has a way of soloing certain frequencies so you can hear what sounds too loud, what sounds too low. If it sounds too loud, cut it out. If it sounds too low, boost it just a little bit.
It's just like 5 and 5-9 the cake. You ain't saving if you're spending, nigga. How much you say?
I mean, I don't want to show too much because it's pretty straightforward. You know, you're just listening and see what sounds good, what sounds bad, and that's what EQs are made for. EQs are mostly just a tool where it makes things sound way better than they should. So if you have something that sounds pretty low, you can boost it just a little bit without having destroyed the dynamics. But like I said before, you have to use your ears. Anyone's voice, any type of sound is very different from one another. So not everything is going to have the same frequency ranges where certain parts sound bad, some other parts sound good. There's going to be some certain frequency ranges from other people's voice that sound good and others sound bad. You have to listen to it. And also, don't forget not to mix in solo.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5-9 the cake. You ain't saving if you're spending, nigga. How much you say? Going.
And also, let me put this all the way over here. I forgot to mention one more type of EQ. That's called Shelving EQ. Low shelf, high shelf. This is shelf EQing.
It's just like I'm free to lay. Used to hustle, now I 9 to 5 and 5-9 the cake. You ain't saving if you're spending, nigga. How much you say? Go invest and make it double, nigga. Run up the bank. Soon as you done got some paper, burned it like some easy. Why does it ain't tricking? If you got it, who done came with that line?
You're just EQing the low and high frequencies. But there are certain ways to EQ them. You just have to mess with it. And that's basically it. It's not that much to do. EQ is not really that hard. Use it at your best judgment. Use your ears. Don't cut and boost the same frequency ranges in every person's voice, because everyone's voice is completely different. One person might have more bass than the other. One person might have more pitch than the other. You have to use your ears and focus on what sounds better for your taste. And that's it. You guys hit me up in the comment section below on what you think of this tutorial. There are so many EQs, other EQs where you can use to make your vocal sound good, or instrumentation as far as for your beats. You let me know in the comment section below on what else you guys like for me to do for you. Once again, it's your boy Jaunti. I'm signing off. You guys have a blessed one. I love you. God loves you more. Stay blessed and peace out.